for today is we are going to look at what is waterfall method, what is SDLC, what is IT, who is the user, and we'll end with an exercise. All right. So let's straight away go to waterfall method. Okay. So one of the first things I tell students, even during my demo classes, I told you, okay, important thing to remember. If you are doing QA, BA courses, is number one, software is a product. Okay, many non-IT testing concepts are in IT testing, and similarly, many non-IT BA concepts are in IT BA. Right? This is an important concept to remember. Okay. So with that, when we are looking at waterfall method, waterfall methodology is nothing but a process to create a software. Process to create a software and maintain a software. You can also use the same process to upgrade a software too. Upgrade a software. So waterfall method is nothing but a methodology or a process to create, change, or upgrade a software. Since software is a product, that means the same process can be used to create, upgrade, and all that, create and upgrade any product, like even a car. Okay. So my goal during the first few classes or any topic that I teach is to give you a strong foundation and a strong fundamentals and a strong concepts. Once the concepts are very strong, so you will remember these ideas and concepts forever, and when you go to your job, you will find it easier to apply. Let's go here. So one thing that I told you was software is a product. That means whatever you are looking at here is nothing but a product life cycle. Okay, product life cycle, meaning the process can be used to create any product, including software. So let's see this life cycle. Let's see this process with an example. Okay, let's see it with an example, and it will make more sense to you. Product life cycle. That means any product can be created using this process. Okay. So let's say on one hand, let's see a simple example, car. That's I always use this example of flying car. Okay, flying car. Okay. So let's look at what feasibility study means. Feasibility study is nothing but it is a cost benefit, sort of a cost benefit analysis. Okay. So you are just checking whether I can really get into manufacturing a car or not. So if you want to get into manufacturing a car or even build a home, so one of the first thing you need to do is, okay, how much money I need. So you need to look at the location. You need to look at the time it is needed to start this. Okay. Then you need to look at labor pool available to you, how much labor you need. Another thing you can look at is features or components. Features of a product, or what are the different components I need to manufacture a car. So you need things like, okay, flying car means you can go to YouTube video and watch. You need wings, right? You need powerful engine. You need transmission, right? So many different things. These are all feature or components of a product. So after all this analysis, if you are satisfied that you can go ahead and manufacture the car, then product requirements will have to be defined. A senior engineer or a product engineer will have to define requirements. Okay, wings means what are the specifications for the wings? What is the length, what is the width, and so on. Okay, then product is senior engineers will design the product, right? Design product, a prototype of the product, or whatever form they manufacture, thoroughly test, and then deploy is nothing but you start selling cars. So you go to dealership and start buying a car. Dealership and start buying the car. That is what deploy. Deploy means product is released for customer use. Then what happens is, you maintain and support. What is maintain and support? If you have a new car, you would take it to a dealership, right, for every 3 months, or a local nearby car mechanic, and just do oil change or any small changes you have to make. That is what maintain and support is. Okay. So if you look at this process, it is highly serial in nature, like a relay race. Okay, start with feasibility study. Once that is completed, you go to requirements, then you go to design, you go to development, you go to testing, like that. Very, very serial. One step will have to be completed before you can go to next step. So how is this related to IT? Okay, all this is fine. I understand the concept of manufacturing a car, but how is this related to IT? It is related to IT. Okay, this diagram got erased. But 5 important things. Dollar, we talked about it, right? Location. Third thing is time. Okay, labor, and features or component. So let's say on the software side, let's say you the student has an electronic store. Okay, electronic store. Okay, and you want a website. Okay, first is feasibility study. Suppose you are the owner. Student is the owner, right? Student is the owner. You have to do feasibility study. Do I really need this website? So you are looking at how much money it's going to cost. Okay. How much time, how soon I need this website? Who is going to, okay. Third thing is who is going to do it? Which company is going to do it? Labor. Fourth thing is location. Location in IT term or for web services and all that, it is called hosting. Hosting is where the software is going to reside. Software is going to live. Okay. So location, this is where cars are manufactured, right? Features of the typical website selling electronic items. You have home page. Okay, similar to features here. Contact us page. Okay. Contact us page, payment page, and so on. Right. So for these kind of pages, some feasibility study is done. Suppose you are satisfied with and go ahead with the website. So the next point is next thing that needs to happen is, right, requirements. So this is where BAs will step in and BAs will write detailed requirements for home page, detailed requirements for about us page, contact us page. So when you say contact us, there are no details. So details need to be built around, okay, your email address, the mailing address, the phone number, fax number. Those details will have to be gathered and defined here. That's what BA's job is. BA's job is to gather and define requirements for all these features. Then architects, technical architects or senior programmers will design the product. Programmers will develop the product. QA will test the product. QA will test the product based on requirements written here. Deploy is nothing but this is where website is launched. And any issues or concerns with the website goes to maintain and support. Okay. So if you look at software as a product, so manufacturing cars also can go through the same steps. Manufacturing a software or creating a software also goes through the same process. Okay, this process that we just saw, that is creating a software, is also very serial in nature. Very serial in the sense, one step will have to be complete before you can go to step 2. Step 3 will have to be complete before you can go to step 4. So if you are constructing a home, it makes a perfect sense. First you look at dollar, location, time, etc. Then you define the requirement for your home. Only after architect completes the design, you go to development. Okay. Then home is thoroughly tested. Then you move in. Deploy is nothing but you move into your home and start using the product. and you know what is maintain and support for a home means. You know, if you're living in a home, it constantly, every day, it needs to be maintained and supported. Okay, so this process is nothing but what I call a product life cycle. So it's a, how many years this process is? As old as time. Okay, when human beings first started building a home or a hut, even they use this process. It's not something new, but in IT term, it is called waterfall process. Why it is called a waterfall? You know, the process falls down like a waterfall from top to bottom, just like the picture on the right hand side. Okay, so it falls like a waterfall from top to bottom. Okay, process is also serial. So this process, number one, can be used to create a product. Okay, after creating a product, let's say after 3 months later, you want to add something, you want to add some features. You can go back and start all over again by upgrading. Suppose you want to upgrade the product, still do feasibility study, define requirements. If you still don't understand, imagine you are building a home, okay, brand new home. Okay, let's say brand new home, you went through the process, you are maintaining and supporting. 3 months later, you want to add a bedroom. What do you do? Go back, start with feasibility study. Okay, to adding a bedroom, how much money it's going to take? What is the location? How much time? Labor? What are the components? Same thing. Okay, alright, first stopping point, any questions? Yeah, Krishna, you have a question, go ahead please.
So BA will involve in requirement phase only, or?
Yeah, majority of the time requirements, BA is also, as we go along you will know more. BA is also involved, this is I would always say 60 to 70% here. Okay, BA is always also involved in testing phase. You know, tonight's class we will do an exercise with related to that. And BA also to a limited extent involved in design and development. Limited, you know, very limited. Okay. Yeah, well, we will go in and look at feasibility study in detail and requirements in detail. One of the questions from Sonia is, what is the difference between feasibility study and requirements, right? Feasibility study is you are checking the feasibility of the product. You know, can I even do this or not? Suppose, Sonia, I asked you to buy a 50-inch television. Would you buy it? Okay. So today I am asking you to go, Sonia, go and buy a 50-inch television. I like it. So you will also like it. Will you buy it, Sonia, just because I said?
No, I will just check the feasibility study.
Right, exactly. You will find a feasibility, you know, how much money it will cost, whether I require. That is what feasibility study is. Okay.
Yeah, but so, as you said that in feasibility study we will just check the price and requirements and what the materials we need. But these can be the requirements, no?
No. These are all, you know, when you say wings, you know, for a flying car, you need, okay, let's go to an IT example. In feasibility study, you identify that, you know, you need a website with a payment page. Okay, you need a payment where, you know, people can make a payment, right?
Yeah.
So this is simply saying payment page don't have any details. So here you define detailed specifications.
Yeah, but this can be the requirement, means we need a payment page, means it can be requirement, our requirement.
No, they're simply saying payment page. Does that give you any details?
No.
What does it tell you? No, you know, simply here you identify the high level features. It is like saying that, you know, let's take the home example. In home, you decide in feasibility study, you know, while, you know, you think that you need 3 bedrooms. Is that a good enough requirement for a builder or an architect to design and build?
No.
No. So the details are defined here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I guess no other questions. So let's move on. So as per our agenda, so the next topic, Bunty, you have a question? Go ahead, please.
So for BA, the communication skill and documentation skill is most important in BA, because he's communication from client to designer to development to testing.
Yeah, communication skills are important.
Okay.
Yes. Sonia, you have a question? Go ahead. Okay. So Sonia,
Yeah.
you are asking after testing if there are any error messages, then which step we go. So slightly these are all little advanced questions. So we are looking at basics, but I will still answer this question. So I want you guys to apply common sense. Okay, forget about IT. Forget about IT. A pen is created, right, or a television is created. So while testing, there is an error. There is a problem. So where do you go? Right, your home is constructed. So while checking, there is a problem, right? Sonia, you tell me, where will you go? Okay, home, you just constructed a home, there is a problem. Where will you go? Will you go to construction? Will you go to design? Or will you go to requirement?
Development.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So where is the problem? You tell me.
Maybe in development or.
Yeah, maybe in development. Could it be design?
Yeah, it could be in design.
It could be in design, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be a requirement. You don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So ultimately the answer is, once again, you have to look at all these questions from a product perspective. If you look at it from a product perspective, so it could be a development problem, it could be a design issue, it could be a requirement issue. Depending on where the issue is, you start from there and go down. Makes sense?
Okay.
Right.
Or we'll go first to the requirement step.
No, I'm not saying it depends on the problem. If it is a development problem, you'll start from here and then go to testing. If it is a design issue,
it will not find that where is the problem then?
Well, then you are, whole thing is in trouble. Whole product is in trouble, right? So if there is a problem here, so you have to find the root cause. And right now, Obamacare. If you take Obamacare, right, their website is running into a lot of issues. It could be a code issue, it could be a design issue, or it could be a requirement issue, right? Depending on where the problem is, you start from there and fix the problem and then fall down.
Oh, there is no fixed way to go. Means from start we came from the start to the feasibility, then means from the top to bottom.
No,
then
you forget about IT. I asked you a question about home. That all of us can understand it. Why not you tell me it's a development problem? You said maybe development, maybe design, the same thing. It may be, IT, it may be a development issue, maybe a design issue, maybe a requirement issue. Okay, so wherever is the issue, that is where you identify the issue, identify where the problem is, you start from there.
Okay.
All right. So I hope it makes sense to you guys. Okay. So, all right. So that we just looked at what is waterfall method. Okay. So that should give you an idea. What is this SDLC is all about? Okay. So intro to waterfall method, different phases of SDLC. So I'm looking at software. SDLC stands for, so I first covered waterfall method. Now I am covering what is SDLC. Okay. So SDLC stands for, software development life cycle. Okay. SDLC stands for software development life cycle. Okay. So what is software development life cycle? So let's look at it with a simple example. So let's say, you go to a bank to deposit money. Let's say you go to a bank to deposit the money, right? Okay, so this is the beginning of the process, this is the end of the process. Okay, so you have, let's say, you enter the bank, okay, sign the check, fill up the deposit form, then you go to the teller will deposit the money, then, you get a receipt. Okay, and then you walk out, right? So while walking out, you realize that you have one more check to deposit. So what do? You go back, and once again go through all the steps and come out. So the next day, if you have to go back and deposit one more check, what do? You follow the same process, right? So whenever you have to deposit a check, what you do is you go and repeat the same steps again and again, right? So the process, the steps within the process, the various steps are repeated again and again. So from beginning to end, right? So that is what the concept of life cycle is. If you look at the word life, if you look at the word cycle, right? Life is cycling around. The life of the process is cycling around. In fact, the concept of life cycle, for your better understanding, it is same as the concept of reincarnation. Okay, so just like reincarnation, so here is the process to beginning of the process or birth of the process. Is the end of the process or death. Okay, in between the steps, right? Various steps are there, right? So that is exactly what life cycle is, meaning software, when software is developed, so this is the beginning of the development, the end of the development, so various steps are there in between. So when software is created for the first time, you go through all the steps and come out. Okay, and after 6 months, let's say, software needs to be upgraded, what do? Go through the same steps and then come out. For example, let's go here. Let's say Microsoft, okay, or the best example is Apple, iPhone, or Samsung, what is that, Android, right? So they also go through feasibility study, requirements, design, development, and Apple iPhone is released here. Let's say phone, what is that, 1 in 2007 or 8 they released 1. So after a few months they decided to work on the next version. What do? In between, maintain, support, upgrades are provided. So in between they want to work on 2. So they go back, start all over again, come back and release. So then they work on number 3. So 3 also, start all over again, go through and release version number 3. Okay. So the entire thing is happening in a cyclical manner. You start, you complete, release the product, go back, start again, release the product, go back, start again and release the product. This is the very nature of any product development. It is not just software, any product development. The process, the steps within the process are repeated again and again. That is where you have this concept of life cycle. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Okay, so let's see questions. Yeah, Srinivas, you have a question? Go ahead, please.
I was just wondering, we didn't discuss about plus and minus of waterfall method.
Yeah,
so
we are just,
are we going to discuss
starting, 5% is over. So a lot of 2 more classes to go. So as we move along, we will learn. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. I am just giving a big picture now. I haven't even gone into details like feasibility study and all that. So that I won't even start until Monday. Monday is the day I will go into what is feasibility study, what is requirements. I'll go into detail on each and every step, and next Wednesday night I will be concluding this steps. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. So other one, I also want to see everything, all these concepts. So I always ask this question: how old is this SDLC process? Like I said before, thousands of years old. When human beings started building their first home, first building, or first whatever, they all followed the same process. Okay. Any product can be used to create any product can be they can use that SDLC process. Okay, for creation, upgrades, and also even any kind of changes or even replacing a product. Also, same process can be used. Okay, so I also want you guys to look at IT in a very simplistic manner. So I will just show you a 2-minute exercise showing IT in a very simple way. Okay. Okay. Any topic that requires detailed explanation, I use this notes. Any topic that requires quick explanation, I mean something that is not important, I will use slides. So I will email this notes to you later tonight. Okay. So IT, what is IT? IT or software, right? It's all about automating a manual process. Okay, that's all. Okay, life was there 60 years ago when there was literally no IT. Right? Life is also going on right now. What is the difference? Nothing but manual process is automated. For example, so let's look at a retail process. Okay, customer walks into your store, right? So let's imagine no IT, okay? Customer walks into your store, you browse the existing items, identify an item, you add to the shopping cart, you repeat 2 through 4 until all the items are selected. You bring the card to the register. Payment is made. I don't know how I missed these 2 steps. Payment is processed and customer walks out. Okay, you are all familiar with this process. Now, let's say 2000, right, or 2000, 2012, we have Amazon or other web-based products. Okay, your same purchase is now automated. Instead of walk-in, it is called login. Instead of walk-out, they call it as log-out. What else is the process? You can go to Amazon, browse, you can identify an item, add to the electronic cart, you can pick more items. You can start bringing a cart to the register physically, it is called checkout here. Click checkout and payment is made, payment is processed, you log out. It is the same process. You may not have thought about it, but if you look at it, it is the same process. Whatever manual process is what gets automated. Okay, so that automation of the manual process is what we call a software. Okay, all right. So questions? Any questions so far? Okay, the question is okay. So the waterfall method and SDLC. So SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle, but it has got multiple. There are many ways to develop software. You know, there is waterfall methodology is one thing. Okay, you can also use V model, which is again it's a life cycle. Agile, which is again a life cycle. There is spiral. There is RAD. Okay, there are so many other methodologies too. Especially if you are doing BA, you will learn all of them. Okay, so yeah. So software development lifecycle is sort of a common term, but multiple processes are there, and all of them go through that life cycle. Okay, other questions? Okay, so before we go into the next topic, couple of quick things. Okay, this topic I already talked about this topic. Okay, one thing that you need to understand is that okay. Waterfall is just a process or a methodology, and remember a process is a well-defined sequence of events. Okay, so so why we need all these processes like Agile or Waterfall or RAD? Having a good working process makes it easier to do the development in an efficient manner, and on top of it, process increases efficiency, standardization, and reduces defect. Okay. So it is not such an important point, but it is common sense. Anytime you have a defined process, it just maximizes efficiency, standardization, and reduces defect. Okay, every company uses a different process. You know, a company may use agile-based methodology. Some people can use spiral, but in my opinion, popular ones are waterfall and agile. Okay, agile-based processes like Scrum or RUP. And waterfall are two of the widely used methodologies. Okay, I am setting up for doing this topic to set up an exercise that we are going to do. So since many people are new to IT, I'm just going to give a simple explanation for who is a user. Okay, who is a user? User is one who is going to choose the software or product for their business. Okay, users are users are nothing but they are going to use the software or product for their business. User is one who is going to use the software or product for his or her business, right? So user is also called, IT is somewhat very, they use different terminologies to call the same thing. So it's oftentimes it's confusing. There is no standard terms across IT. Some of the terms are standard, but some companies can use the word client. Some companies can use the word customer. Some companies can use the word end user. Pretty much it all means the same thing. Okay. So for example, let's use real life example. Okay, you are building a home, right? And you approach them. Who are you to the architect? To the architect, who are you? So you are his or her client, customer, right, user, and you are also can be called an end user. I will tell you the meaning of end user shortly. Similarly, suppose you own an electronic store and you want a website. So who are you to the software company? You are their client, right? To the software company, you are their client, customer, user. User means you are going to use the product. What is this meaning of end user? End user is a very simple concept. If you go to the life cycle diagram, okay, so feasibility study is done, then BA write requirement, technology team design, programmers develop, QA does the testing, and product is released here to which person? To the user, customer. So physically, where is the user? Here, towards the end of the life cycle. Towards the end of the life cycle, that is why the person is called an end user. Since the customer or user is present towards the end of the life cycle, so the IT guys came up with this term, end user. Okay. All right. Any questions before we shift to the a small exercise that we are going to do?
Yeah, Nandu, I just wanted, I'm still in doubt how this SDLC work. On the, using waterfall method or agile, you just said. So I'm not pretty much clear about the SDLC, how this SDLC actually works.
Yeah, so let's not worry about agile now. Let's worry about waterfall, right? So what is not clear to you? So instead of saying not clear, you have to tell me what is not clear.
Both are same. Both are on the same platform. If you want to, release a product, so you can use SDLC or you can use waterfall.
No,
right?
I was saying that waterfall is the name of the methodology, right? So similarly, we have agile. Similarly, we have RAD. Agile-based processes are there. Then there is a spiral. So many of them are there. So any process that you use, so you will basically, it is a life cycle process. All of them are life cycle process. Okay. So one is, just waterfall method falls down like top to bottom, but it is also there is also life cycle inbuilt into it. Right. So if you go to agile, it is the same thing. So they use a different. It won't look like a waterfall. It's not a top-down approach. They have a different process. Right? Different way of doing it, but there is also a life cycle involved in it. Right?
Yeah.
So that is what is a life cycle. So all these processes have a life cycle inbuilt into it. Product life cycle. Okay, product is created, then it is upgraded, it is changed, upgraded. It goes in a cyclical manner. So agile also operates like that. Operates a little differently. Agile, these steps are done in parallel. Okay, all these steps can be done in parallel. There is also a life cycle involved there. Okay.
Yeah. So how about SDLC? So there are different stages for SDLC. At a particular stage, you can use this method. SDLC works like this, or is it a different way SDLC works?
No, that is what I said. So waterfall, within waterfall. So waterfall is a name of the process, right? The name of the methodology. So software development life cycle. So this is the software development life cycle for the waterfall. So for agile, yeah. So software development life cycle is part of that methodology. So if you take agile works differently. There is also a life cycle or software development life cycle even within agile method. Anytime any process you use to create a product, any product for that matter, there is a life cycle that is involved. Right? So here we call it a software development life cycle. Even when you build a home, there is a life cycle that is involved, irrespective of what kind of process you use.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. So who will design and all that we will see later. Right now I am talking about big picture. So who will do feasibility study? Right? Who will do deployment? So we will not take any questions related to that, because like I said, next Monday I'll be going through each and every step in detail between Monday and Wednesday. Right now we are looking at the big picture. I am giving you guys the foundation for future classes. Okay, foundation for future classes. So just any questions that is ahead, I have to little bit take it later. Okay, so Prabha, I hope you understand. All right, so let's go to the. So here, you guys will look at feasibility study. Page number 6, feasibility study is there. Then requirements. Requirements I take almost 1.5 to 2 hours to cover. Okay. So then, those slides have very little information. Then design phase, you go on tonight, you can read about it. Here I talk about what is design, who does the design, all right, it all comes to the future. So just to hold on, right now you guys don't need that information. Okay, so the next question is, the exercise that we are going to do is, okay, what is the BA's role in testing phase? How QAs and BAs work together? Mainly I designed this topic because I wanted to do an exercise towards the end of the class, first day of the class also, and many people don't understand what is QA, what is BA. So giving you little more knowledge and make you understand how these two roles work together, right? So that's what we are going to do today. Okay. So this exercise will take 30 minutes and we will wrap up. Okay. All right. So give me 2 minutes. Let me set up the exercise and then we'll talk. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes. So Sonia, I forgot. Did you join BA or a QA class? So which class did you join?
QA.
Okay.
QA.
Okay. So now we are once again we are going back to our fundamental basic, right? So one of the first things today I was taught you guys, even during the demo class, I was telling you guys that this is a concept, like software is a product. Where did I write that? Okay, software is a product. Okay, so that means the concept that I'm going to teach, okay, the concept I'm going to teach right now is going to revolve around, what is called a magic ball. Okay, what is called a magic ball? Magic ball is a product. So if the concept is good for magic ball, which is a toy, it is also good for software, right? The concept, so we have, we said software is a product. That means if the concept I'm going to teach you, okay, is good for magic ball or a toy, it is good for software too. Okay, all right. So in fact, in this tonight's demo class, Srinivas was there, and we had quite a bit discussion around, what is the role of a QA, what kind of skill sets a QA should have, and what kind of skill sets a BA should have. Okay, so based on job requirements, Srinivas was saying that even a BA must know testing. There is absolutely no doubt about that. That is what this topic is going to address. Even he was insisting even QA should have some BA skills. I will also talk about it. Okay. So BA's role in testing phase, QA BA interaction is what we are going to discuss. So here is the first exercise. We are going to do total of 4 exercises. Okay. So my first question is going to go to one of the BAs listed here. I don't know who it is. Okay, just be prepared, and when it comes to testing concept, I will ask one of the people in the testing. The rest doesn't mean that I am not involving you, but I got only 4 exercises to do. So I cannot involve everybody. So I just posted some names here. Okay, go ahead, take 1 minute, read it, and then I will shortly ask you a question. Okay, so what I am saying is the product went through feasibility study, also requirements were returned, product went through design development, right now testing. Magic ball, I am not talking about IT, magic ball, the toy Toy is in testing now. Okay. So, so one of the product analysts, in other words, you can be called business analyst too. Product analyst wrote the requirements. So the requirements, I came up with this idea. I am the owner of the company, so they work with Nandu to define detailed requirements. Here are the requirements, right? So, okay. So the product is being tested now. So my first question to Mona, right? Mona, my first question to you is, right, as a product analyst, will you be curious to stop by the test team and test the new product?
Yes.
Why? If you say yes, always I'm going to ask the question why.
Just to see if the requirement has been made properly, and if whatever the requirement was is working fine. That's the reason.
But that is QA can do it. Why should you do it? Okay, why should, that is the job of a QA, right?
Yeah.
But okay, to expand your point, but there is nothing wrong in you being curious. Okay, so it is you are curious because you wrote the requirements, as Mona said, right? So, and you also want to get an idea how the product is coming along. It is not that you are officially testing it; it's more of ad hoc testing. So there is nothing wrong in just talking to the QA person and saying hey, let me take a look at the product, how it is coming along, let me use it, and you can check and see if the product is working as per your requirements very briefly. It is not an official test, it is not a formal test, but it's more of an informal test. Will you be curious? Even if you are not allowed to test, you will be curious because you wrote the requirements for the product, so you are curious to know the progress of the product. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So take about 90 seconds or 30 to about 60 seconds and think about it. Okay. Names. Okay, Navneet, so probably you can answer this question. Okay, so obviously, yeah, go ahead. The product is under tight deadline. So today, November 10th, the product needs to be released. Okay, 3 testers are testing the product. 1 person had to leave. So he or she made $1 million, okay, in a lottery, just to quit on the same day and left. We have very little time. So who is a better replacement for the tester given this scenario? Navneet, go ahead, please.
The one who has written the requirements, BA, he would be the better person, the better replacement for the tester because he knows he is already aware what kind of, he has done all the study, he's the one who knows in and out, so, he would be the better person in that situation to be replaced by a tester.
Okay, here is the testing. Okay, let's say, imagine that there were 3 testers. Okay, T1, T2, and T3. So T3 left. Okay, so there are 3 BAs. Let's say in this imagined scenario, BA1, BA2, and BA3. Okay. So Navneet's answer is that okay, one of the BAs, for example, B1 can replace this tester. So our reason is that you said has a very good wrote the requirements, have very good knowledge of the requirements and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So let's say Negal is in the design team. Okay. Negal is such a smart guy. So he also has the same knowledge. He has got, if there is a test, let's say we have a test. Okay. So Negal will score 100 out of 100, and let's say this is Rupal. Okay, Rupal will also score 100 out of 100. Both are equally good and sharp. So in that scenario, who will you go with? Or even in development, let's say Rajiv is in development. Okay, Rajiv is in development. Rajiv also is pretty sharp, gold medalist, right? 100 out of 100. All of them, you conduct a test, all of them will score 100 out of 100. So in that scenario, who is a better replacement?
Still the BA.
Why?
because the requirements, because of the same reason which I told earlier, he is pretty much aware. For the development team, there are different guys and they have a different set of procedures, and for the design team, they have a different set. So the requirement guy would be pretty much aware of the in and out, and so he should
Raji
be.
also knows in and out. Neval also knows in and out. That's what I'm saying. All three of them score 100 out of 100. All three of them score 100 out of 100. They, so they are equally good. So in that circumstance, who will you select, right? So let's see what Jyoti comes up with. What are your thoughts, Jyoti, here in this scenario?
I kind of agree that the business analyst should help out because they are more aware of the requirements and what the business needs.
Okay. So there is a very critical answer to this. The right answer is the business analyst or the product analyst. Okay. So, you guys gave a partial answer. So here is the full answer. Okay. So who is a better replacement for the tester? Okay. The product analyst, the main answer is the product analyst is the one who interacts with the client. Though Rajiv and Negal score 100 out of 100, they never had a chance to interact with the client. So the product analyst has that extra knowledge on what the client wants, the client conversation and all that. They know the mindset of the client. Whereas the programmers or design people don't know the mindset of the client. Okay, they may know the requirements in and out, but product analyst is the one who interacted with the client. And on top of it, there is something called separation of duties. There are a couple of people working in the banking sector, so they know what is separation of duties. Separation of duties meaning, suppose one who is, let's say I have to write a major check, $10,000, right? So in major organizations, the one that who is issuing the check, or let's say, or the other example is, let's say I'm buying a, large. I work for AT&T. I want to order 1,000 laptops, costing around, let's say, 500K. So I order the laptop. I also write the check. Not a good idea. So what do? I can do a deal with this guy. I mean, I can have an underhand deal and saying that, okay, man, I'll give me 2 more laptops, just deliver it to my home. Some kind of, corruption can happen. So what happens is one who is ordering the laptop and one who is writing the check will be 2 different persons, and this check also is approved by second person. Separation of duties. Okay. So in our product development process, okay, one who is designing and creating the product, if the person ends up testing the product, then there is a conflict of interest. Suppose let's say ABC, here is a person ABC, he didn't do a good job of development. He comes and tests the product. So if there are issues, he will not try to bring it out. He will try to hide it. Right? So suppose you are constructing a home. So the guy who is doing the construction should not be the one who is also doing the checking. So if there is anything wrong with the construction, the person will try to hide it. Right? Separation of duties is a very important concept. Okay. And like I said, the person who got the requirements knows the mindset of the owner. So that is why design person and development people cannot be used. So in order to test, you need to pull a BA or a product analyst from the requirement phase and have them test. I have done this all the time during my business analyst career. So many times I have tested. Okay. So next question, third question. Let's go to the third question. Let me do this. All right. Walmart, Kmart, Toys R Us, Target. Okay. Are going to visit your company to look at various toy products, including Magic Ball. Who is the best person to organize the visit? Meaning, welcome Walmart, welcome Kmart, welcome all these customers, doing a demo of the Magic Ball, letting customers test the Magic Ball. So who is the best person to organize this visit? That is my next question. Think it over and you can answer. Alright, so who is the best person to organize this visit? So let me throw this question to, let's see, Krishna. So you can answer this question. You are doing both QA and BA, right? Who, you know, so in your opinion, who is the best person to organize this visit? A best person or best persons? Okay. So what do you think, Krishna? So I'm not talking about IT, I'm talking about toy here, right?
Yes,
you should be able to answer.
Yeah, I can say, you know, either owner of the product or, you know, the
owner could be one answer, but owner doesn't know that much about how Magic Ball is toy is working. Okay.
Business perspective, I'm saying owner, and the, you know, technicality, testing, and everything. So business analyst is the right person.
There is a technical part to it, right? So owner can best do is welcome and shake hands and you know, offer them food. So you know, in order for there is a technical side also. The demo side is also there. Demo can be done typically by product analyst or BA, or even sometimes, you know, with the help of a development team also, you know, business analyst can do. Typically PA, BA is more of a customer facing job. So in my days 20 years ago, you know, it is mostly developers who used to do the demonstration of the product, but it is now more and more increasingly falling into the hands of a BA. There is also a technical side to it, making sure the product is ready, it's working and all that. That is done by QA and development team. Okay, one who created the product, one who tested the product, have to make sure that customers are coming to test the product. They have to make sure that the environment, the product, etc., ready to be tested. Yeah, that's okay. You know, I am okay. So last question for the day. We'll take once again a complex question. So let's see. This is one of the frequently asked interview questions. It's more of a QA perspective. So this is the discussion we had in the demo class. Let me see. So one of the people who are doing QA, I'm going to ask you this question. You can read it, think about it. Okay, so here is the scenario. Okay, so on January 15th, okay, January 15th, there was, let's assume only one product analyst or BA was there. So this fellow defined 50% of the requirements. So here is the requirement document, right? Here is the requirement document. 50% is defined, 50% is empty. Okay. So let's say this was Rupal. Rupal made $100 million in a lottery and she left. Okay, $100 million. Okay, she left, quit and went away. But product cannot stop. You know, she left and product development has to continue. We have to hire the next business analyst or product analyst. That's going to take time, but product cannot wait. Product needs to continue. So somehow it continues. Also remember there was a owner. Owner is still there. Continues. So the design they started on let's say Feb 10th. Development they started on March 10th. On April 15th, hypothetical scenario, but it happens. Okay. On April 15th, testing has to start. But when you test a product, you know, majority of the time you just rely on requirements. Right? You rely on requirements. So here is a team lead. Okay, here is Jyoti. Okay, Jyoti needs to test. Jyoti is the team lead. Jyoti is looking at the requirements. She was busy with some other testing in the past, and she needs to start testing. And suddenly she wakes up, man, what happened? Why you guys didn't tell me? I have only, you know, the 50% of the requirements defined. 50% is empty. How can I do testing? I have to develop my test plan and do testing and all that. So with 50% of official requirements, I cannot do testing. Right? So she cannot do testing. So what should she should do in this scenario? That is the question. So give me a second. Let me go and pick up a person who can answer this. So let me start with Sonia and then I will come to Sai. So once again, so remember, okay, requirement is only half done. This is the requirement document, half full. rest is empty. Okay, here is you are a QA. You cannot do QA will have to rely on requirements to test, but only 50% of the requirements are available. So what will you do? So my first question goes to Sonia. So then let's see. Okay, Sonia, I talked to you quite a bit. Sorry, you haven't asked any questions. So let me go. Okay, what will you do here?
I'm thinking I should definitely talk to the owner to see if he can, because he's the only one I feel like that he knows the product as to what it's what it's designed for.
Okay, go to the owner. I'll shortly unmute you, or let me go to Sonia and ask the next question. So owner is partly the right question, okay, but there is also some other people who have the information, right? So Sonia, who is that person?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the question?
So Sai Lakshmi says that I will go to the owner.
Okay.
The owner obviously has the information, because when the original requirements were written, the product analyst heavily interacted with the owner. Owner is the one who came up with the idea. Obviously, you can go to the owner or customer.
Yeah.
Customer will be able to give you the information, even without a BA customer. So who else you can go to besides owner? Owner is part of the answer. This is 50% of the answer. He can give 50% marks here, grade here. But there are also a couple of other people you can go to and get more information. Or I should say 75% here.
Yeah.
Answer is 75% right. But
We can go to the, yeah.
Yeah,
we can go to the development field, development people or the design people to see that if they have more, we can get more information from there.
Why design and development people?
Because to see if they we can provide, they can provide more information.
How they can provide more information? Why do you think they are in a position to provide more information?
Because they develop and they design the product, so they know what's the requirement of the product.
They didn't know the requirement of the product. Even for them, it was half empty.
Okay.
Okay, I will not put you on spot. You are right about that. The gap is that, okay. So they also, design is also based on requirements, right? Design is also based on requirements. Okay, they go there and find half empty. They have to fill in the gap. But they may not officially fill in the gap. What they do, they also go to the owner. Developers also go to the owner. Developers also can talk to design guy. And they have to understand the remaining 50%. But they may not fill that empty spot, but they have the knowledge. They have the knowledge of the empty space. So the answer is, okay, you as a QA lead, or here we will go to the team, the owner, the design lead, the development lead. Right? You can go to all the three. And you as a QA now will have to act like a BA, because 50% is filled in. So Jyoti as a team owner, team lead, what she is going to do is, or as a senior tester, she has to fill in this empty space. She has to write requirements by filling in this empty space. Okay, so that is what needs to happen. This is one of the frequently asked interview questions, but it is a product concept. At the end of the day, these are all not alien concepts. These are all product concepts. Okay, here is the answer. Okay, I will send a copy of this answer to you guys, because it's a very important question. Okay, so these are some of the questions that are asked. So read the answer. Okay, right from top to bottom you can read it. So I try to understand it. If you don't understand, feel free to ask questions. Okay, the lesson learned is that a senior tester should have some BA skills, or must have some BA skills. Your normal BA must have QA skills. Okay, so this is the topic we are trying to address it in the demo class. And the BA must have QA skills. A senior tester, should have BA skills. Okay, I hope the process is also clear. I also want to put a question back to Jyoti. So Jyoti, one second, I'm going to. Okay. So Jyoti, in certain scenarios, they have to. This is one of the odd scenarios. QA will have to talk because there is no BA. So there are some smaller to medium-sized companies. You run into such scenarios. So some of my students have done this in the past. I can even show it to you. The emails that we have exchanged from the past. So in 2007 and 8 and all that, it was happening more often because 2008, 9 and 10, what happened was companies were operating with skeleton staff, meaning they wanted fewer people. Okay. So at that time, the QAs were expected to have this kind of skill sets. And today, Srinivas, who is a senior recruiter, was also mentioning that a lot of companies these days ask for both skill sets. Okay. Yeah.
One more question, Nandu. How many BAs are usually in a company? Is it more likely to have 2 or 3 in most companies? BAs?
I'm going to put the question back to you. My standard answer to this question. This is one of the frequently asked questions. Okay. So let's say in New York downtown, they are constructing a building, right? How many architects they should have? These architects or lead architects who are going to define requirements for the building. Okay. How many architects should be involved in defining requirements for this building? Architects normally design. Junior architects and mid-level architects are going to design and take care of oversee the construction. But there are some senior architects who no longer do that. They just deal with customer and document requirements for the building. So how many architects should we hire, Jyoti?
We need at least 1.
1? So do you think 1 is enough?
No, it depends on the project. If it's a big project, you need lots. So it depends how many projects you're trying to put out by the end of the year.
Right. So now you answered your own question, right? Correct?
Yeah.
It depends on the size of the software, size of the product. If there's, like I know one of the large local companies in a project, there were 34 BAs at one point of time. So how many BAs, 1 or 34 or 20, depends on the size of the product and the complexity of the product. So you can have a, construct a building with only 1 architect, or if you are building a 70-story building, you might have to have 20 architects writing requirements for the building.
Okay.
Okay, so going back to our, Svetak, thank you, you can log off. Okay, so going back to our question, okay, I don't know where it is, but anyway, here is the answer, right? So these 7 steps in between, you write the requirements, also have a couple of reviews. So interview questions are asked. What if the requirements are not clear? You are working as a QA, if the requirements for a product is not clear, you go and see your team lead or business analyst. Is there a possibility that there is no business analyst? Yeah. When there is no business analyst and requirements are not there, you have to document the requirements. That is when, testers have to have some BA skills. But as we saw in the first 3 examples, BAs are involved in testing a lot more, so they have to have QA skills. And throughout the course, you will be covering for BAs many QA topics. Okay, but not all, not the entire QA, but mainly manual testing and the quality center and so on. Okay, all right. So that brings an end to the class. Thank you all, and you are welcome to ask questions. So the first question, if it is material, I am going to send you the material.